Hey, what's up guys, Benny here and welcome to another Apex Legends video. In this video, we're going to be looking at some common mistakes that I see players do all the time, and mistakes that I used to make before I realized they were actually getting me killed and costing myself and my team a lot of wins in Apex Legends. Also, I'd love to hear what your biggest mistake has been in Apex down in the comments below, but we have to start with a mistake that for me personally is one of the most frustrating ways to be killed or lose a game over, and that's looting too much. The number of players, the second they get a kill, sprint as fast as possible to the loot box to check what the enemy has is unbelievable. It doesn't even matter if you've got some of the best weapons and armor in the game, people still just want to check a loot box, even though players will have most likely heard the gunfire from you picking up the kill, and they're going to be sprinting in your direction, trying to kill you. And that's the thing, I'm sure you'll do this yourself, the amount of kills you can get in Apex Legends or the amount of damage you can do because you see an entire enemy team gathered around one loot box is ridiculous. Loot is not that important in Apex Legends. Of course, it's going to help you, but only ever loot when you know it's safe and is not going to get you killed or you desperately need ammo or healing items. Because every time you're looting a body, you're leaving yourself open to be taken out as you're standing still and really, there's not much you can do about it. Also, when looting, communicate with your team. One or two people should loot, whilst the other keeps an eye out for enemy teams. So the problem is, players don't usually do that because it comes down to being that loot gobbling greed. Everyone always wants to have the best loot in their team, which is natural, but don't be surprised if it ends up costing you a win. Usually you can tell if loot boxes are worth looting thanks to whether they're purple or gold, but just remember, try and loot as quickly as you can when you do loot, prioritize your armor upgrade, then ammo, then healables and equipment. And then just make sure you loot as a team. Apex is a team game. You want to be with your team at all times. And that gets me on to the second big mistake that so many players make in Apex Legends, running off solo. I get it, it's hard, especially when you end up playing with people you don't know, but I promise you, you're going to have a way better time if you stick with your teammates. If you end up not being the jump master and your team goes somewhere that you don't want to go, don't just break off and go off by yourself. Bite the bullet and go with them. Be the best teammate that you can be. First of all, this will mean you instantly have a better chance of winning the game, and it also means that the people you're playing with are also going to have a better time. But this mistake doesn't just include the start of the game. Great, you've landed with the rest of your team, now stick with them. Now believe me, I know this at times can be such a difficult thing to do because sometimes teammates just don't have the same thought process and run around like headless chickens, not knowing where they're going themselves. But take it upon yourself to be the best teammate you can be and not make that mistake. Follow them everywhere if you have to. Be their shadow, but be the reason your team ends up winning rather than going off solo, getting killed, and then the rest of your team getting wiped out trying to save you as they're instantly at a numbers disadvantage. I've always said this, going solo is at times really fun. You take out an entire team 3v1 and you feel incredible. But the sad thing is, if you run into good players, that just isn't going to happen and you're going to get destroyed. Apex rewards team play, from the speed that you can recharge your shields to the cooldowns of your abilities. So the next time you get the urge to run off solo or ahead of your team because you hear some gunfire, just remember, you're reducing the chance of your team winning the game. It's just such a common mistake that people make. Another common mistake is players not knowing how to get the most out of their weapons and setups. In Apex, you're going to come across a whole range of different weapons that can be used in different ways to make them the most effective. But you also want to make sure that you have two weapons that perform different jobs. There's no point having two shotguns, for example, because the second someone starts shooting at you from a distance, you're a sitting duck. And that's why you want to make sure that you learn about every single gun in Apex Legends. The gun's strengths and weaknesses, and if it matches your personal playstyle and ability. If you don't have the best aim, for example, you might not want to use the wingman, as you have to be so precise. Even if a lot of people think it's the best gun in the game, you might want to use a Spitfire instead, as there's a bit more room for error, and it's also pretty good when you're hip firing it. And knowing how to get the most out of a weapon is key. You might be using the R301 and trying to hit someone from across the map with it whilst using full auto, which isn't going to work. Change it to single shot and you're instantly more accurate at a distance. Though the Mozambique is still dreadful, whatever situation you're in, so I'll just leave that on the ground where it belongs, and I'm sorry, Mozambique lovers, I'm sorry, but the truth hurts. Another mistake players make in Apex Legends a lot is knowing when and when not to push. It's also one of the hardest decisions that you must make because it's a split-second decision where you have to take in a whole number of factors. The main time you want to push is when you have a number advantage on another team. If you manage to pick up a kill from distance, you want to push with your entire team and get right into their faces. Use abilities like Octane's jump pad or Pathfinder's grapple to close down the distance, as this is when people panic and can't take you down as easily because you're applying a lot of pressure on them as a team that requires them to think quickly. A big mistake so many people make in Apex Legends is playing too passively, and because of how players get drawn towards gunfire in this game, if you don't take out a team quickly, it's so easy for another team to come in and third party you, which usually ends up with you and the team you are fighting being killed as the other team comes in with full health and ammo and equipment and just cleans you up. However, it's also important not to push if you're low on health. You may just want to hold your position and wait for them to try and push you. Constantly keep an eye on your health as well as your teammates when deciding what to do, but I'd always suggest to be as aggressive as you can in Apex Legends when you have the opportunity to do so. Another common mistake I see a lot of players make is quite simply not communicating. Simple information that you might not think is useful could be all the difference between winning and losing. If you think you saw an opponent, let your team know. Even if you're not using a microphone, you can still communicate effectively thanks to the amazing ping system that Respawn added into the game. But communication is vital. It's the one thing I learned when I used to play Call of Duty professionally. It's the thing that really separates the best players in the world at any first-person shooter is their level of communication. You want to let your team know as much as you can in as few words as possible. Also, more detail the better. If you said something like broken caustic shield, then I would know to prioritize damaging caustic as it could lead to an easy knockdown that would then potentially give us the number advantage. So get into the habit of being as clear as possible, saying things like enemy team spotted, Wraith, Bangalore, Lifeline, then suddenly if you see Big Boy Gibraltar rock up, you know another team has rocked up and can make a decision on what to do off of that. Remember, every single detail helps. Ping loot your team might find useful, ping shields, ammo, supply drops. Every bit of information going on in the game will help you win a lot more matches in the long run. Another thing that will help you win a lot more matches, and is a mistake people constantly make, is not knowing when to run away. If it looks like you're going to lose a fight, you need to get the hell out of there. Tell your team to back out and run as fast as you can. Use everything in the game to help you. Balloons, jump pads, zip wires, cover to escape the enemy team. Just use it. Sometimes it's hard to admit that you need to run, but it's one of the things you can do because if the enemy team does chase you, you can wait till you have the map advantage, whether that's some good cover or the high ground, and end up winning a fight that you would otherwise have lost. Also, if some of your teammates get down, depending on the situation, you can grab your teammates' banners and run to get them back into the game. That's not always going to be the most ideal situation, but you should never catch yourself in a gunfight where the odds are stacked against you. It's a simple mistake that's easy to avoid, but if you want to win games consistently, it's a mistake you can't afford to make. You always want to make sure that you have the biggest advantage possible on enemies. That will just make them look bad at the game at the same time. Another mistake a lot of players make in Apex Legends is not using their equipment. The amount of times people will enter a gunfight and not open with a grenade or an arc star hurts. It's without a doubt one of the best openers and can deal a lot of damage and panic to another team, especially if they're not expecting it. When I go to loot a death box and there's still grenades on them, it frustrates me because you can not only use them as an opener, but to help you get away. Throw grenades behind you as you run, or use the thermite to create a wall that's hard to see through, which might make an opponent miss some shots. There's never a point to have grenades not used. Throw them all as you're moving positions if you have to. There's also a really handy grenade trajectory which appears when you go to throw your grenade, so you know exactly where it's going to land. Using arc stars has got to be one of the many reasons I've been able to win 3v1s and 2v1s, because they're so powerful. So make sure to give them a go and don't let them sit in your inventory and be completely wasted. But those are just some mistakes that I notice a lot of Apex Legends players making that might stop them from winning. If you've got any other mistakes that you've made or see other players making, do go ahead and share them down in the comments below, and I might do a part 2 to this video. I've always felt that the best way to improve at any game is to learn from your mistakes and others. If you're new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe and smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!